Can I start, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, slide Mataji. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Dandavat Pranam Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining the call today. We will start our today's Srimad Bhagavatam session from ISKCON Portland. Today's verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, chapter 13 and verse 28. So first I'll say some prayers of our previous acharyas, and we will start the session. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganda Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, dear devotees, I'm going to share my screen. Just give me a second. I'm going to share my screen now, and we can read the verse, the Srimad Bhagavatam today's verse. Sorry, what is this? Where is my verse gone? Sorry, dear devotees. Yes, this is the verse. So this is the 28th verse. I will recite the verse first. Adho dichim disham yato svairagyata gatir bhavan ito arvak prayasah kalaha pumsam guna vikarshanaha. Ato dichim disham jato svairagyata gatir bhavan ito arvak prayasah kala pumsam guna vikarshanaha. Ato dichim jato svairagyata gatir bhavan ito arvak prayasah kala pumsam guna vikarshana. I request devotees, would you like to please read the verse?
If you can try Mataji.
Sure. Thank you.
Atho dhichim dishim yatu svair ajnata gatir bhavan itorvad prayasha kalam pumsam guna vikarshana. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Anyone else want to please recite the verse?
Atho dicham disham yatu svairagyatagatir bhavan itortva prayashan kala pumsham guna vikarshana. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Nanraj Prabhu. Anyone
Like,
would like to...
Atochim disham yatu svair agyata gatir bhavan itorvak prayashah kalaha pumsam guna vikarshanaha.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So let us read the synonyms, translation, and the purport. Ataha, therefore, Udichim, northern side, Disam, direction, Yatu, please go away, Swaihi, by your relatives, Agnata, without knowledge, Gatihi, movements, Bhavan, of yourself, Itaha, after this, Arvak will usher in, Prayasaha, generally, Kalaha, time, Pumsam, of men, Guna, qualities, Vikarshanaha, diminishing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Please, therefore, leave for the north immediately without letting your relatives know, for soon that time will approach which will diminish the good qualities of men. Purport. One can compensate for a life of frustration by becoming a dhira or leaving home for good without communicating with relatives, and Vidura advised his eldest brother to adopt this way without delay because very quickly the age of Kali was approaching. A conditioned soul is already degraded by the material association, and still in Kali Yuga, the good qualities of man will deteriorate to the lowest standard. He was advised to leave home before Kali Yuga approached because the atmosphere which was created by Vidura, his valuable instructions on the facts of life, would fade away due to the influence of the age which was fast approaching. To become Narottama or a first-class human being depending completely on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is not possible for any ordinary man. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:28 that a person who is completely relieved of all taints of sinful acts can alone depend on the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Dhritarashtra was advised by Vidura at least to become a Dhira in the beginning if it were impossible for him to become a sannyasi or Narottama. Persistently endeavoring on the line of self-realization helps a person to rise to the conditions of a Narottama from the stage of a Dhira. The Dhira stage is attained after prolonged practice of yoga system. But by the grace of Vidura, one can attain the stage immediately simply by willing to adopt the means of the Dhira stage, which is a preparatory stage for sannyasa. The sannyasa stage is the preparatory stage for Paramahamsa, or the first great devotee of the Lord. Jan. So, um, okay, we will discuss the verse now. So I'm going to little bit discuss before. So dear devotees, this verse was the last instruction given by Vidura to Dhritarashtra. So Vidura's instructions to Dhritarashtra started in this chapter. The whole section started from the 18th verse and ended, at the 28th verse. So today is the last verse we are reading from this section. So, yes, so even though these teachings or instructions from Vidura to Dhritarashtra are specifically for Dhritarashtra, but all the other family members were also present, hearing with rapt attention. Why with rapt attention? Because anything, actually, the words coming or instructions or teachings coming from the mouth of a pure devotee like Vidura are very, very auspicious and very powerful, and it purifies the hearts of the listeners. So, and not only these instructions are for Dhritarashtra, but these instructions are for all of us. Basically, whoever had taken, birth in this material world, whoever is having material body, and these instructions applies to all of them, right? And moreover, this section, if you could observe from 18 to 28 verses, the whole section, the idea of the theme of this section is that this is a science of renunciation, which is important, very, very important for all of us. This whole section is the science of renunciation, because if we could observe the instructions, because we have been reading this section for the past few weeks, and different devotees explained it, went into very deeper into it and explained it very nicely. So we could understand basically what Vidura is teaching to Dhritarashtra. He's asking him to actually leave everything and go to the forest for getting perfection in his life, right? So this is a science of renunciation. Basically, the situation is such that Vidura, after being insulted by Duryodhan, he went for a long pilgrimage. So once he came back from the long pilgrimage to Hastinapura, the reason why he came back to Hastinapura is just to enlighten his elder brother Dhritarashtra. Vidura was very, very outspoken, frank, straightforward, specifically with Duryodhan, specifically with Dhritarashtra. And moreover, he is not only a minister advisor but also a very good friend of Dhritarashtra. So in many circumstances, he has given many advices to Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra never took any good advice from Vidura. So, in fact, when Duryodhana was born, so he could see actually this is the person who is going to ruin, destroy the Kuru dynasty. So he realized, he could understand that, and he warned Dhritarashtra, please, get rid of this son. But Dhritarashtra was not able to follow his advice because Duryodhan is a Kali personified. Kali is a son of envy and anger. So Duryodhana was a personification of Kali. So Vidura could see that as a pure devotee of the Lord. So he advised Dhritarashtra, but Dhritarashtra was not able to follow his advice. So now the situation is such that Dhritarashtra lost everything. He lost his hundreds, not only his 100 sons, but also his grandsons, his relatives, his friends, everyone he lost. And moreover, shamelessly, he was dependent for his survival on the virtuous Pandavas. Once upon a time, the wicked Dhritarashtra, he had made so many plans along with Duryodhan to kill Pandavas. But this time, actually, he was still depending on the Pandavas, right? So, for his survival. So, Vidura so doesn't want that to happen actually. Yeah, in the 18th verse itself, Vidura addressed Dhritarashtra, O king. That is sarcastically he was addressing because Dhritarashtra, even though he lost everything, he was still thinking himself the king of, the whole Hastinapur and everything. So Vidura is reminding him that, do you think you are still a king? No, you are not, you don't have anything left. Basically, you are not a king, but still you are thinking, you're attached. You're so much attached to the opulences and comforts of this royal palace and, power and everything. So that is why actually Vidura, came, because of Duryodhana's wickedness, there was a fratricidal war within the family, and of course, the virtuous Pandavas, we know the battlefield, and the Kauravas, all of the Kauravas were dead in the battlefield. So now, see, we have all the instructions were discussed in detail by all the devotees for the last few sessions, of our Srimad Bhagavatam, class. So regarding, Dhritarashtra's wickedness and Vidura's, compassion on Dhritarashtra, and also Pandava's greatness, everything was detailedly discussed. But now for this session, today, particularly, the whole idea is the science of renunciation. I want to discuss, that topic today by understanding how actually we can adopt this kind of renunciation, because we are in this material world, right? And we are so much attached to what we have, thinking that we have some positions in this material world. Like, if we have a house, if we have wife, a husband, children, relatives, friends, and we are so much attached to everything in our life, right? So in this situation, how we can actually, if suppose if Vidura comes and tells us that, okay, you have to leave everything and go to forest, are we able to do that? right? We are not able to do that. It's not easy actually, right? But at some point of time, my last session, when I had mentioned that, why not we actually, that is theme was the surrender to the Lord. Why not we surrender, when everything is working in our body, and when we realize, in the early days of our life, because at the end of our life we don't know, right, in what consciousness we would be, whether we will be able to surrender or not. But we have to surrender to the Lord, because Lord comes in the form of death. So why in a helpless condition, why not, when everything is working normally, why voluntary, why we have to do, why we are not able to do voluntary surrender to the Lord, right? So it is a time for us to actually do voluntary surrender to the Lord. So let us try to discuss the art of renunciation, because this renunciation is one of the greatest opulence of the Supreme Lord, right? So Supreme Lord has all six opulences. We all know, right? Bhagas, Supreme Lord has bhagas, six opulences, like, complete beauty, complete wealth, complete strength, complete power. Like that, one of the opulences is renunciation. So one may ask question, when Krishna has all opulences, how can he called as a renunciate, right? But it is very, very, very happy and, sweet thing to know about the Lord's renunciation. So before we discuss Lord's renunciation, how we can understand Lord's renunciation, I want to share the screen, and, I want to go to the actual verse a little bit to discuss about this, because please therefore. So I don't know how many of you had followed the previous earlier verse, why it is mentioned as therefore, because this is the actual verse where Vidura is talking about the immediate action. So action part came into this verse, and before this verse, the translation is saying that he is certainly a first class man who awakens and understands, either by himself or from others, the falsity and misery of this material world, and this leaves home and depends fully on the personality of Godhead residing within his heart. And he said this, what he has to do, and here he's ordering him what he had to do. So let us read this and try to understand his instruction to Dhritarashtra. Please, therefore, leave for the north immediately. So he's instructing him to leave for the north. Why leave for the north? Because I remember Hari Prasad Prabhu is here in Portland. So usually Prabhuji tells us, if you put a question why for everything, then you'll get an answer. So why leave north immediately? Because on the north side on the north side, there are Himalayas and Badrikashrama. So whoever actually wants to perfect their lives, they usually go to a secluded place, right? So they usually go to Himalayas. That's a very nice, Badrikashrama is a very nice for this kind to perform these kinds of austerities. So people usually go there. So that is why even Vidura is instructing Dhritarashtra to go there, north side, without letting your relatives know. Because why? Because last week, I think I have asked this question to Bal Nitai Prabhuji. So Prabhu said, if we tell our relatives where we are going, right, there is always an opportunity that they would come and disturb us and ask us to come again, to come back home, material world, not to the spiritual world, and start our, actually material life. So there is always a danger. So without letting your relatives know, for soon that time will approach. Which time? Here, warning Vidura, Dhritarashtra, the Kali is approaching. Then what happens if the Kali approaches? Kali will diminish the good qualities of men. So all the good qualities of men will be diminished. And here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explaining that Vidura is saying to Dhritarashtra, my dear brother, if you are not able to become a Narottama or a pure devotee of the Lord, because in the earlier verse, there was a discussion of three kinds of transcendentalists. One is a Dhira. Dhira is a person who, without having any attachment, he leaves the family and go to the forest for his perfection. That is the first category. And the second is a frustrated sannyasi. Out of some sentiment, he gets frustrated in his life and he takes up sannyasa. This is the second stage. And the third stage is Naravuttama, the devotee of the Lord, who actually practices devotional service by chanting and hearing and smarana and everything, by the 9 processes of devotional service mentioned by Prahlad Maharaj, and who does that and gets perfected his life. So he's a proper devotee. So here Dhritarashtra did not do any devotional service, right? He just was hankering for the power, because he was thinking that he was not able to rule the kingdom because of his physical inability, like just a minute, somebody is Neelam, see. Can somebody is unmuted? So Neelam Mataji, could you please mute yourself? Thank you. So Vidura was not able to rule the kingdom, right? I mean, Dhritarashtra was not able to rule the kingdom. So he had desire. So he thought, okay, anyway, I didn't get a chance, so at least my son could rule the kingdom. So that was his this thing, right? So he didn't do any devotional service. So Vidura is advising Dhritarashtra, please, my dear brother, at least you have not become anyway devotee, and you have not become a sannyasi, but at least you can be a dhira in your life. Okay, leave the family immediately, go and take up austerities and perfect your life. That was the instruction given by Vidura to Dhritarashtra. But it is, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that it's not easy to become a dhira also suddenly, right? Leaving home and everything. But how could actually Dhritarashtra go to the forest and do austerity and got some perfection? Because here Srila Prabhupada, see here I'm going to read this one more time. Dhritarashtra was advised by Vidura at least to become a dhira in the beginning, if it were impossible for him to become a sannyas or narottama. Persistently endeavoring on the line of self-realization helps a person to rise to the conditions of a narottama from the stage of dhira. But the important thing is the dhira stage is attained after prolonged practice of yoga system. It's not easy to even attain dhira stage. But why Dhritarashtra got this opportunity? But by the grace of Vidura. Vidura is a pure devotee of the Lord. So with the blessing of the mercy of the pure devotee, nothing is impossible in our lives. So same thing happened because Vidura was a pure devotee. His instruction along with empowerment worked on Dhritarashtra, and he the stage immediately simply by willing to adopt the means of a Dhira stage. But by the grace of Vidura, one can attain the stage immediately simply by willing to adopt the means of Dhira stage. So this time, finally, Dhritarashtra actually followed the instruction of Vidura. Okay, so this stage, Srila Prabhupada is saying, is preparatory stage for sannyasa, next stage. And then sannyasa stage is the preparatory stage for Paramahamsa stage. This is the Paramahamsa stage, or the first great devotee of the Lord. So this is the instruction given. I already discussed this. I mean, why? Because the Kali is approaching. Kali is very bad. Maybe my instructions work on you at this particular time, but if you delay in future, since Kali is approaching, my instructions even might not give any influence to you. I mean, I won't be able to even influence you. So this is the best time for you. In fact, to leave everything and go to the forest. That is what he was saying. Okay, and now. Now let us discuss how we can understand the great opulence of the Supreme Lord, renunciation. Okay. So it is very, pleasurable thing to understand Lord Krishna's, renunciation part, his detachment. So when someone possesses all opulences, he is naturally attached to them, right? Suppose if we have any house or a name, fame, we are so much attached to that. Everyone wants us. Everyone wants somebody to recognize us. I mean, we want all others to recognize us. If we have something like a beauty or fame or a name or something like that, right? Wealth or power. We want to all of them to recognize our greatness. But in spite of possessing all the opulences, Krishna is not attached or proud of it. Thus, he is the possessor of supreme opulence of renunciation. We can say that. In the material world, as I said, we are so much attached with everything, but Krishna is not like that. Moreover, Krishna is called as Lakshmipati. He has Lakshmi on his chest, right? Goddess of fortune is there on his chest. But still, actually, he could be able to actually take a humble position as a servitor to Pandavas. Like, he has become a chariot driver, right? And he's also called as a Partha Sarthi, right? He was actually, when Mahabharata war, Kurukshetra war was going on, in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita itself, it is mentioned that when Arjuna, asked Krishna, as if, Krishna is, see, Supreme Lord has all Aishwaryas, but still he has become the chariot driver of Arjuna, and Arjuna, whatever Arjuna was instructing him, Krishna was simply following that. And Arjuna asked him, "Can you please take the chariot and stop it in the midst of both the parties?" Then Krishna took the chariot and he stopped the chariot in between both the armies, right? Then actually Arjuna felt a compassion for his kinsmen, and then the Gita Upadesha started by Krishna, right? Not only that, in Mahabharata, when the Rajasura Yajna, was conducted, Maharaj Yudhishthira, after consulting from Vyasa and other, elevated personalities, he assigned, different services to different relatives, like how, Bhishma, Bhishma and Drona to oversee the arrangements for sacrifice. Dussashan was put in charge for food distribution, and Aswadhama was solicited to cook after to look after the Brahmanas, and Duryodhan was for receiving gifts and all that, and Vidura became the master of the treasury, and everyone were given so many services. But Lord Krishna, with a desire to gain the blessings of Brahmanas, Lord Krishna always respects Brahmanas, right? So Lord Krishna, with a desire to get the blessings of Brahmanas, and guess, he personally took the humble service of washing the feet of the guests. So whoever were coming at that time, he just washing their feet. How menial service it was, right? Are we able to actually do that kind of service, right? No, right? So Krishna, the Supreme Lord, actually doing that. Just think of ourselves, So, and also, not only that, he has become a servant of Pandavas in many ways. And I can show you that verse, this is a very, very wonderful verse. Saratya Pashada Sevana Sakhya Dautya Virasano Gamanasthavana Pranamam Snigdeshu Pandushu Jagat Pranitam Cha Vishnor Bhaktim Karoti Nrupatis Charanarabinde. This is from Canto 1, 16:16. Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna Vishnu, who is universally obeyed, powerful, rendered all kinds of services to the malleable sons. I mean, the sons of Pandava are such that, they were actually, they have a very good rapport. I can say in my words that a very good rapport with Sri Krishna by accepting posts ranging from chariot driver to president to messenger. Krishna has become messenger and he's a friend of them, and sometimes night watchman, etc., according to the will of the Pandavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like one younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with the devotion to the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So, see, Krishna's renunciation is such that, what is the need for him, right? But, he was actually serving menially, to his devotees. And another thing is Satrajit case. I mean, recently I have heard, even Hari Prasad Prabhuji's story of Satrajit, in one of the sessions. So it was so nice. This is from, I'm just saying. So I'm going to go to 1056, 38 to 45 verses. So I'm just looking. Yes. 38 verse. See, this is a story of Satrajit. You all must be knowing, right? Satrajit got Shamantaka money from Lord Suryadev, and when Krishna suggested that you should give this money to actually Ugrasena, not to him. Krishna never wanted anything. So, but Satrajit actually he rejected to give that money to Ugrasen. He kept, and later actually it was Prasenjit. He has given to his brother, and it was lost, and Prasenjit was murdered, and then the blame came upon Lord Sri Krishna, and then Krishna went and fought with Jambavan, and he got the money along with Jambavati, and then Krishna actually, what did he do? Let us read this. Lord Krishna summoned Satrajit to the royal assembly after everything was over. There, in the presence of King Ugrasena, Krishna announced the recovery of the jewel and then formally presented it to Satrajit. Hearing hanging his head in great shame, because he blamed unnecessarily to Lord Krishna, right? So that is why he was feeling ashamed of himself. Satrajit took the gem and returned home, all the while feeling remorse for his sinful behavior. Then what did he do? Pondering over his grievous offense and worried about the possibility of conflict with the Lord's mighty devotees, King Satrajit thought, how can I cleanse myself of my contamination? And how may Lord Achyuta become satisfied with me? What can I do to regain my good fortune and avoid being cursed with opulence by the populace for being so short-sighted, miserly, foolish, and avaricious? I shall give my daughter, the jewel of all women, to the Lord together with the Shamantaka jewel. That was his realization. That indeed is the only proper way to pacify him. And moreover, this has something, selfish thought also, of course. And that is why later, I think, he was also killed, right? It's all, Lord's plan, of course, because he was thinking about himself, how he had to come out of this, because he will be blamed by all the devotees of the Lord, right? Having thus intelligently made up his mind, it's not a right surrender to the Supreme Lord. King Satrajit personally arranged to present Lord Krishna with his fair daughter and the Shamantaka jewel. But what Lord Krishna said, that is actually important for us. The Lord married Satyabhama in proper religious fashion, possessed of excellent behavior along with beauty, broad-mindedness, and all other good qualities. She had been sought by many men. The Supreme Personality of Godhead told Satrajit, we do not care to take this jewel back. O king, you are the sun god's devotee, so let it stay in your possession. Thus, we will also enjoy its benefits. So, see the Supreme Lord's actually detachment, right? Even if it is offered by Satrajit, he just rejected it, right? So that is why we have to understand Lord's renunciation. So not only that, when Krishna was in Vrindavan, playing with all the covered boys, covered girls, Gopal, Gopis, Radharani, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Maya, he's having very good time. But Kamsa sent Akrura, right? Akrura came and Akrura said, okay, you are invited. Before that, actually, I think I have understood from the previous Acharya's, explanations that Narada Muni came, to Vrindavan, reminding Krishna the purpose of his appearance, because Krishna is happy in Vrindavan, forgetting about everything, and he's really, really enjoying in the Vrindavan. But Narada came and he reminded Lord, see, Lord's devotees are such that Lord is always conquered by his devotees, right? He doesn't mind, even if devotees come and remind his duty. So that is a kind of renunciation also, right? Lord is not attached to his power or supremacy or anything like that. So Narada came and said, what are you doing, Krishna, here? Nicely playing. Come on, chalo. Time is up. The purpose of what is your purpose of appearance? Okay, your parents are actually in the jail. They are actually suffering, and so many demons are, bothering all the Brahmanas and other devotees. And Kamsa is, becoming very mean, very cruel, and you are sitting here. Come on. Then the situation has come. Krishna decided to go anyway, and the situation come that Akrura had been sent by Kamsa, so Akrura came. So we will just go through a few verses, 1039 verses, yeah, from actually 31. We will go to just because it is such a situation that it is so horrible situation, because once Lord Krishna left Vrindavan, he never came back. I was recently listening to one of the lectures of Hariprasad Prabhuji that, it was, Prabhu explained, like, it's a, hrudyam. We say it in Telugu, hrudyam, because it's in a heart melting way, basically. Because after this, Krishna left Vrindavan, gopis felt lots and lots of separation from Krishna. But Krishna left without having he was so attached to Vrindavan, gopis, his parents and everything. But when Akrura came, he just lost, he was so detached. He just left Vrindavan. See, he lost detachment, right? He knows his, purpose of his appearance. Of course, usually it is mentioned that Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, but situation-wise, Leela purpose, he left Vrindavan, without having any attachment. That's why I'm actually, and after the meeting happened again after 70 years. I heard from Hari Prasad Prabhuji. After 70 years, see, the situation is such that Krishna left, gopis were lamenting so much, and gopis cannot go to Madura, Dwaraka. Krishna cannot come to Vrindavan because Krishna is actually bonded with 16,108 wives, and in front of them he cannot express his love for gopis. His first love is like a gopis and Radharani, but he cannot express these feelings to he cannot express in front of his wives. And here gopis, they are also in a family life, and they cannot come to Dwaraka or Madura and tell everyone, announce, declare everyone that, oh Krishna, we are actually first beloveds of Krishna. Krishna loves us more than anyone else in this world. Would they be able to say that? No, right? Because they are in so they were, this pain is such a pain that, both of them have love for so much for each other, but they cannot express it, and they were actually subsiding in their heart. This is so painful situation. After 70 years, when they met on at the place of Kurukshetra, and this gopi is actually, that time also actually they were all crying. They want to see Krishna, and it seems, I heard that they were not given any asana or anything like that. They were like a simple Vrajvasis, right? So who will actually respect them? They were sitting on the floor, waiting for Krishna, waiting for Krishna, waiting for Krishna, and Krishna came. And first, Krishna came running, and he wants to see Radharani, and Radharani was sitting, putting veil on her face and bending her head, crying. And imagine, after 70 years of separation, first meeting, how it would be. Like, it is really, heart melting situation. So this kind of detachment, it's not that God doesn't have love for them, Krishna doesn't have love for them. He had love for them, but he was hiding that, and maintaining his prescribed duties, showing us an example how we have to do a prescribed duty in the Dwaraka and Madura. So here Sukadeva Goswami said, after speaking these words, the ladies of Raja, I mean, they were lamenting. I'm not going to go to that because we have so much to discuss. Who was so attached to Krishna, felt extremely agitated by their immense separation from him. They forgot all shame and loudly cried out, oh Govinda, oh Damodara, oh Madhava, please come. But even as the gopis cried out in this way, Akrura, having at sunrise performed his morning worship and other duties, began to drive the chariot. Led by Nand Maharaj, the covered men followed behind Lord Krishna in their wagons. The men brought along many offerings for the king, including clay pots. With the Lord Krishna somewhat pacified gopis, and they also followed behind for some time. Then, hoping he would give then some instruction, they stood still. They stood still. As he departed, the best of the Yadus saw how the gopis were lamenting, and thus consoled them by sending a messenger with this loving promise, I will return. But he never came back. He never came back. So this is a sad part, right? So sending their minds after Krishna. Their mind is with them, actually, with Krishna only. The gopis stood as motionless as figures in a painting. They remained there as long as the flag atop the chariot was visible, and even until they could no longer see the dust raised by the chariot wheels. The gopis then turned back without hope that Govinda would ever return to them. Full of sorrow, they began to spend their days and nights chanting about the past and say their beloved. So we don't have Krishna with us. So this is a process, actually. If we feel separation from Krishna, by spending our time in listening to the pastimes of Krishna, we can actually remember Krishna. Not only this, Krishna's renunciation, how we can understand. There are so many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna, after killing Kamsa, did he take up the kingdom? Did he rule the kingdom? No, he had given it to the Ugrasena, right? So this Madhura and Dwaraka. So Krishna is called as Dwarakadish, but he was never a Dwarakadish. He did not rule the kingdom. He just sacrificed. And he just has given that to 10, 45, 12. I'm just going to a little bit of 10, 45, 12. See. Thus, having comforted his mother and father after killing Kamsa, he comforted his mother and father. He did his duty. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as a son of Devaki, installed his maternal grandfather Ugrasena as the king of the Devas. Though Krishna having all the opulences as a Supreme Lord, is he attached to his power or anything like that? No. This is the opulence of Krishna, renunciation opulence of Krishna. We can understand, right? He actually 13 verse, just read. The Lord told him, "O mighty king, we are your subjects." How humble Krishna is. If we have something in our life, we feel, oh, great by ourselves, right? Oh, I have this possession. Oh, this is mine. Okay, this is mine. But Krishna is saying, we are your subjects. So please command us. Can Supreme Lord say it like this? Krishna is saying this. So please command us. Indeed, because of the curse of Yayati, no Edu may sit on the royal throne. Actually, Krishna doesn't need to say this say this, but still he said this, because why the reason is mentioned here, because if he directly say Ugrasena does not accept the throne, that is why he said, okay, anyway we had curse, so that bahana, kind of, he escaped by taking that power. So he just given that, and then so I am present in your entourage as your personal attendant. See how humble he is. What is the mode of service to Krishna, to his devotees? All the demigods and other exalted personalities will come with heads bowed to offer you tribute. What then speak of the rulers of men? He said this. And installing Sahadeva, Jarasandha. See, Jarasandha also, he win over Krishna, right? But did he actually rule the kingdom? No. He made actually Jarasandha's son, Mahadeva, no, Jarasandha's son name is Sahadev. He has made him the king of Magadha, 1070 to 46. 46. See, the immeasurable supreme personality of Lord God, the sustainer and benefactor of all living beings, coronated Jarasandha's son Sahadeva as the new ruler of the Magadhas. The Lord then freed all the kings Jarasandha had imprisoned. Okay, I'm not going to go into very detail because I have so many things to say. And Krishna is not taking control of anything. We have to remember this. Krishna's, opulence of renunciation. Okay, and Lord Ramachandra. Sorry. So yeah, this is. Just give me a second. Yeah, and moreover thing, if we go to Lord Ramachandra's case, right? Yeah, this is Ranchod, right? Krishna's actually another opulence is he left, right? So he left the battlefield. So as a Kshatriya, he should not actually leave the battlefield, but still he doesn't have any attachment to anything. So he just left the battlefield, right? So here Krishna ran after, So this way we can even understand. I think 1 to 6, right? Yeah. See, Kalyavana saw the Lord came out from the Madhura like the rising moon. The Lord was most beautiful, and the description is of Lord is given here. So resolving this, he ran after the Lord, who turned his back, ran away. Krishna turned his back and he ran away from the battlefield. So this is one of the detachments for the Lord, right? Because he lost his reputation as a Kshatriya, but he was glorified by the devotees. So Kalyavana hoped to catch Lord Krishna through great mystic yogis cannot attain him. So nobody can attain him. Okay. So this one I want to say. And regarding, so we are here, maybe missing one. So here, Jarasandha, yeah, Sahadeva, this we are done, right? So I just close it because I just want to show some more things. Just give me 519.6. I'm And this we are done. Sorry, devotees, because I didn't had much time to prepare. Yeah. So here, this regarding Lord Ramachandra, it is clearly mentioned that since last, in case of Lord Ramachandra, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. He is not attached to anything in this material world. He is the most beloved super soul of all self-realized souls, and he is their very intimate friend. But in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that even though in defining the Supreme Lord, we say that he is full of six opulences: wealth, fame, strength, influence, and beauty and renunciation. He is called renounced because he is not attached to anything in this material world. He is specifically attached to the spiritual world and the living entities there. So, what we can see, Krishna is the creator. He's the maintainer of this material world. But does he has any attachment to this material world? Because if we possess anything like a house or a car or anything, we will get so much attached to that our possessions, right? But Krishna, he is the creator, and such a beautiful creation, right? It includes everything, the universe, whole universes, or innumerable universes, right? Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka he is. But does he have any attachment when at the time for annihilation comes? Just like that, without having any attachment, he destroys everything in form of Sankarshana, right? Coming the floods and fire from Sankarshana, right? So in that way, we can really understand the great opulence of the renunciation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So that is one point I want to say. And here, so this is also mentioned here. And after 14 years of exile, one more thing is like Lord Ramachandra's, after 14 years of exile, when everybody were going back to Ayodhya, Lord did not just like that did not go. He asked Hanuman, go and inquire with Bharata, ask him whether he is still interested in ruling, because Lord was thinking maybe in these 14 years of exile, Bharat might have definitely changed, made up his mind to rule the kingdom. Maybe he must have changed his heart. So he want to make sure that see how great is Supreme Lord, right? How sweet he is, right? So he was just asking Hanuman, go and check if he wants to rule the kingdom. No problem, I don't have any problem. He's not attached to anything. Lord is full of Aishwaryas, but he's not attached with anything. What do we have to renounce, right? We don't have anything, but we feel we have so many things in this world. Like I have this much of money, this much relatives, a wife, children, and no, nothing is ours. Actually, nothing is ours. Is there anything for us even to renounce? Nothing is there for us to renounce. Okay. And regarding Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's, renunciation, he is also he's a Nimai Pandit, and he's very, very scholarly person. But still, Nimai Pandit, when somebody came, actually, he actually win over the Vijay Pandit, the Prakashanand Saraswati, and he's a very scholarly person. But one time, I did not remember that name, but one person he approached him, and he had actually written some commentary, and he came to know that Nimai Pandit is a very, very scholarly person, and he also wrote some commentary on that. So he actually immediately, so he came and he showed to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he had written some commentary, and he came to know that Nimai Pandit also wrote some commentary on that. So he immediately became rejected. If you have written a commentary, who will read my commentary? That's what his reaction. But but Nimai Pandit actually, he actually threw his commentary in the Ganges. So that was the renunciation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he also left his wife at a very young age, right? At the age of 24, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyasa, leaving his very dearmost, Vishnu, Lakshmi Priya wife. And she was actually, she lived up to 90 years, I think more than 90 years, and she was worshipping the deity of Dameshwara Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the form of deity she was worshipping, right? So how like that we can understand, right? Lord's renunciation, and that is here Lord's great. And now coming to the point that okay, now that we have discussed in detail the Lord's opulences and his renunciation, how renunciation has become one of the great opulences of the Supreme Lord, now we understood, right? So now what is our duty? what we have to do basically. How do we actually get the strength to actually renounce everything, right? Now, our great, one of the previous acharyas, Sri Rupa Goswami, has instructed us very nicely. And I'm not going to, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but I'm not going to share the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu directly, because these verses are quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I'm going to read, this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Of course, the first one is, this is talking about, renunciation, because we shouldn't have the Markata Vairagya, the Vairagya how the monkeys have. We have to properly understand what is, Falgu Vairagya, what is Markata Vairagya, what is actually Yukta Vairagya, and all these things. So here there are some instructions by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how we can actually see. You should not become yourself a show bottle. This is Markata Vairagya na kara loka dekhana. मर्कट वैराग्यना करलोक देखाना यथा योग्य विषय भुंजा anasakthahana. You should not make yourself a show bottle devotee. This is the instruction given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Raghunath Das Goswami. And become a false renunciator. I mean, by discussing about renunciation, maybe we might think that, okay, we have to leave everything, like how Vidura instructed to Dhritarashtra, we have to leave everything immediately, go to the north, Badrikashrama, without letting our wife and children or letting them know, go to the forest and do it. No, that instruction is for Dhritarashtra, but we can understand, because we are Gaudiyas and we are following a system. We are practicing sadhakas in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord, right? So we don't need to go to any forest, but if we practice devotional service in a nice way, following the previous acharyas and our spiritual master. So for the time being, if Raghunath Das Goswami was actually about to renounce everything, but this is the instruction of the Supreme Lord only. For time being, enjoy the material world in a befitting way, not not like sense gratificators, but just befitting way, and do not become attached to it. Do your duty, but do not. Krishna also gives the same instruction to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita also, right? So do not become attached to it. That's what he said. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, so in order to render service to the Lord, one may accept necessary things. If one lives in this way, he may actually become renounced. So leaving everything is not a good renunciation. Using everything in Krishna's service is a renunciation. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.108, Srila Rupa Goswami, it is said, I'm not going to read the verse because time constraint. The bare necessities of life must be accepted, but one should not superfluously increase his necessities, nor should they be unnecessarily decreased. One should simply act what is necessary to help one advance spiritually. That is one thing. And regarding the Vairagya, and yesterday actually in our presentation, Hariprasad Prabhu, His Grace Sriman Hariprasad Prabhu also actually quoted this verse. Prapanchikataya buddhya harisambandhi vastunaha mumukshubhihi parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. When a person is eager to achieve liberation, renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking that they are thinking them to be material, their renunciation is called as incomplete. If you leave everything, we can use it in the Krishna service, right? We can, yesterday we had a program, and Vidagdha Madhav Prabhu and Kirtida Mataji bought a very big house with the intention to accommodate devotees, to conduct programs. Then they made their house as a Krishna's house, right? So that way, no, I don't want it, because house is material, I don't want material. Car is material, I don't want material. No, that is not the attitude. That shouldn't be the attitude. Next, what we have to do? The instruction is given by Srila Rupa Goswami. Actual renunciation. Anasaktasya vishayan yatadham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagyam uchyate. This is actual vairagya. Yukta vairagya nai. And there is also Markata Vairagya. What is Markata Vairagya? Like, if somebody dies in the family, they go, and then the Vedanta comes. Or when the body is burning by the wood and everything, see what is there, at some point of time, we all have to leave the body, and we have to, our body will also be burned like this, and all that. Smashana Vairagya, basically. And then after coming back, what happens? Smashana Vairagya, we can say. Markata Vairagya is a Koti, monkey Vairagya. Monkeys, they actually they don't have any place to live. They will be on the trees and all that, showing up externally that they don't have any attachment, but they were always after the female monkeys for a sex gratification. So they need that more actually. So they don't have any vairagya. So this is a smashana vairagya. I mean, when our devotees, something happens to then after coming back home, after the body is burnt, everything, then they'll become normal. Again, they forget about everything. So that is not actually. Things should be accepted as the Lord's service and not for one's personal sense gratification. If one accepts something without attachment and accepts it because it is related to Krishna, one's renunciation is called Yukta Vairagya. So this is Yukta Vairagya. So these are the instructions given by, our previous Acharya, Srila Rupa Goswami, Sriman Srila Rupa Goswami. Okay. Now, so we have to wake up, So I want to end, another 5 minutes is there. So exactly the time is sufficient for my, sharing. So I'm going to, one of our great Acharyas, written a very good bhajan about how we have to, what mood we have to have, so how to get detachment and all that. So I'm going to share that screen. This is given, this bhajan, wonderful bhajan was given by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It is from Geetavali, and this is regarding our waking up the souls, right? Because we are in Maya. Of course, we are in Maya, right? In this material world, and we cannot renounce everything in our life. We cannot be detached to anything. But at some point of time, Krishna will make us renounce everything and go back from here and to attain another body. So before that, we have to wake up ourselves. So I'm going to read the translation first, and then I'm going to sing the bhajan, and then we can end the session. And Lord Gauranga is calling, wake up, sleeping souls, wake up, sleeping souls. How long will you sleep in the lap of which called Maya? We are doing that since time immemorial. We don't know when, we cannot even trace the history of when we have come to, when our Anadi, Hari Prasad Prabhuji says, Anadi, so beginningless ignorance. So, which called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the world of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. Other than myself, we have no friend in this material world. I have brought the medicine that wipe out the disease of illusion from which you are suffering. Take this Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I am not saying this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I fall at the Lord's feet, having taken this Maha Mantra. Now, dear devotees, I just sing with my sorry. I request you to please have it all right. जीव जीव जागो जीव जागो गौरा चांद बोले कोटा निद्रा जो माया पिशाची रकोले जीव जागो जीव जागो गोरा चांद बोले बजीबो बोलिया ऐशे संसारा भितारे भूलिया रोहिले तुम्हें अविद्यार बारे जीव जागो गौरा चांद बोले कोटा निद्रा जावो माया पिशाची रकोले तुम्हारे लइते आमी हयनो अवतारा आमी बिना बंधु आरा के आछे तुम्हारा जीव जागो गौरा चांद बोले कोता निद्रा जावो माया पिशाची रकोले येनेची औषधी माया नसीबारो लागे हरिनाम महामंत्र लावो तुम्ही मागे जीव जागो गौर चांद बोले कोटा निद्रा जाओ माया पिसाचीर बोले भक्ति विनोदा प्रभु चरणे परिया से हरे नमा मंत्र लोइलो मगिया जीव जागो गौर चांद बोले कोटा निद्रा जाओ माया पिशाचीर गोले हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय thank you devotees thank you so much for tolerating please forgive me if there are any mistakes in my sharing and if there is any good you took within your heart all the credit goes to the gurujanas. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for the heartfelt singing of Jeev Jago and the pastimes of Krishna. Krishna is also called Dhira Lata. So very nice. We have some time for sharing. Mataji finished right on time. So please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This song is very nice. Jiva Jago, Jiva Jago. Yeah, we have to jog. That means, and this, in my understanding, one kind of Sri Rama or Sri Krishna is attached by the devotees, and they also attached by the God. That is very important for us. That have to think we are always. That is main part of life of us. That is my understanding.
Wonderful.
It is very good.
Wonderful, Mataji, because the point I missed, whatever the point I missed, you just raised this point. Because I forgot to mention that point. Krishna is not attached to anything, but he's attached to the love of his devotees. He's attached to his devotees finally. But you very cleverly, intelligently brought up that point, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Mataji. Anyway, you narrated very well Rama's Rama and his character, and that one thing that Markata and Smasana Vairagya, Markata Vairagya is very important to know the people nowadays. That is very important. Another thing. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for class today. You showed us something wonderful in connecting a conversation that Vidura Maharaj is having with Dhritarashtra to Ram Leela, Krishna Leela, Dwarka Leela, and that it was very nice to see how there is a proper way to connect step by step all of Krishna's pastimes with his devotees. And also personally, I've been thinking about the lesson that nothing belongs to me, and that you said that today, that the class was like this. Amarendra Prabhu says that we should be very attentive to when the devotees speak, and we should consider that, our guru himself is speaking through the mouth of the devotees. So thank you for all of that, and for making it easier on my mind to accept the principle of renunciation by showing how much fun Krishna has in renouncing and in running away from a battle, or how much more his devotees develop love for him. So your presentation really focused on all of the benefits there are from renouncing, and how it's really not as bad as it may seem. So thank you so much for that attention. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for your wonderful comments, Prabhuji. Yeah, Krishna is very, very naughty and mischievous, right? So, yeah, he does all that. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much.
Any other comments?
Aisha, Mati, thank you so much for the wonderful class on detailing about renunciation about renunciation of Krishna, and also how does it apply to us as well. So thank you so much for the wonderful class, and also the beautiful singing of the bhajan by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Mahasaya. Thank you so much, Mataji. Just a quick comment, Mataji. So Krishna also describes the definition of renunciation in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, starting the first 2 verses, and also the types of renunciation Krishna mentions in the 18th chapter, starting Arjuna asks what is the purpose of renunciation. He mentions there as well. And actually, there's a mention of Krishna's renunciation in the Bhagavad Gita also, in chapter number 9, when Krishna shows his, Krishna talks, right? Pashyama Yogam Aishwaram, so a mystic opulence. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan mentions that what exactly is Krishna trying to say, that show my mystic opulence. So they mention that when Krishna says mystic opulence, he means, see how detached I am, that even though I'm creating, annihilating, maintaining everything, I'm still not attached. So he mentions that how, and then he gives to illustrate a particular point, he gives the example of the sky and the air, ether and the air. So how they are, even though they are together, everything within the sky, but they are still separate. So the aspect of renunciation of Krishna in Bhagavad Gita as well. So I just want to share the Mati. Thank you so much, very much.
Thank you so much for bringing the exact quote. So I did not get it. I just mentioned that Krishna, even though he creates, he just like that, he annihilates, without any attachment. But I was not able to bring the quote. Thank you so much for bringing that quote, Prabhuji, and sharing here. Thank you. Very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
This is, thank you, dear devotees, for sharing. And thank you, Radha Kunda Mataji, for preparing in spite of, I know it has been a wonderfully busy week. And you and Ajal Prabhu have been traveling every day to Portland, i.e. Bethany, etc. And that's a long back and forth distance. So, it's wonderful that you had the energy to meditate on this, and the love for the Shastra to discuss this so nicely. I think about, so that's appreciation. Reflection that I have is very challenging, difficult time for Dhritarashtra. I mean, oftentimes, we deride Dhritarashtra as being both physically blind, but also spiritually blind. But after all, he participated in Leela with Krishna as well. So how great is he? So I think, as I was mentioning yesterday when talking about Sachin Prabhu and Ashish Vyas Prabhu and family, that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that if bhakti, love for Bhagwan, is strong in our heart, then a natural consequence of that is compassion on all living beings.
Wonderful, Prabhu.
And
Wonderful.
so
Mhm.
it's not artificial, it's natural. And so the way Vidurji said these things, was an example of tough love, I guess. Like a parent telling the child, okay, you can ride this bike. Child saying, no, no, no. And then the parent saying, I'm here, but I'll let go and you do it. And then, you encourage success of the child. So it took a lot of courage on Vidurji's part and a lot of courage on Dhritarashtra's part. He could have just stormed out of there and said, I don't care what you say. I was a king. I'm your older brother, etc., etc. But he didn't. And that was because of their loving relationship. I wanted to share something, that His Grace Bhujan Prabhu wrote a long time ago. It was in Dandavats, and I copied it. It's a beautiful, long, like statement saying surrender to Krishna and depend on Krishna. It's on July 25th, 2017. So you can all try to search in Dandavats, July 25th, 2017. I'll put the title on this thing, on the chat. He says something very wonderful. He says, when life seems out of control, we tend to want Krishna's help to change the externals. Rather, we are more likely to need his help changing us within. So we need to pray, and through prayer, relinquish our hold on circumstances beyond our control. We have to give our circumstances, as well as our illusory control over them, to him. The result is an eternal peace, regardless of external circumstances. And then he says, expect fear to increase because you're giving up something to someone else. Separate your faith from your feelings. Fear for the unknown is normal. Acting on faith despite fear and doubts is courageous faith. Move toward faith despite fear and doubt and other negative feelings. Mercy is present. Honor Krishna's gifts. And this may be a time to review Krishna's mercy on me throughout my life. This should be done at any time for everything. We should relinquish our ownership as Krishna's servant and offer all to him. Results do not come in a once and for all fashion. We should recognize the indication when that shelter seems to go away that we need more. So, the founder of VIG wrote this. It's a profound. It's about something like 96 kind of terse points on dependence on Krishna and acting with that dependence. He said, therefore, as we act, we are required to ask, am I assuming that everything depends on me and my ability? Or am I surrendered to Krishna and am I finally depending upon him? And can I remain surrendered to Krishna and dependent upon him as I act? Meaning, am I ready to allow Krishna his time and ways for things to reach to their conclusion? Anyways, sorry for being so verbose.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Very nice. Thank you so much for reminding so many things. It was very nice to hear this from you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, it's just from Purjan Prabhu. Yeah. So
nice.
I can share with those of you that want me to share. Just send me your email and
yes, Prabhu.
And I can cut and paste it. Right.
Prabhu. Yeah, I want to read one more time. Yeah. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for sharing that.
I'll send it to you.
Sure. I'll send my email ID, Prabhuji. Yeah.
I have it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Okay. I think anybody else want to comment? It's 9:15. His Grace, thank you, Diego, Danraj Prabhu. So I'll send to you as well. So we are fortunate. His Grace Hari Parshad Prabhu is going to speak today. We talked a little bit about the topic, and if he sticks with what he informed me yesterday, it was going to be about 3 types of discussion. So not immediately related to the topics, about Adao Shraddha, but he said he wanted to make it relevant for newcomers too, but also for those of you who are very experienced devotees. Okay, so that's at 11:30. If you can't join, then online also is feasible. Okay. Panchakalpatrivya kriposindhavyo cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki jai.
Jai.
Ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Thank you so much, devotees.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Take care. Bye-bye.
Krishna. Bye. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.